Welcome in. It's Stack in the Box Thursday afternoon when we dial it up with one of our other podcasters in the FanSided network. We're going to Cincinnati, and there you see the young superstar, the man who has finally got a Bengals team to root for. Josh Miller, Back Row Bengals. Good to see you, my friend.
Carm, thank you so much for having me on. And I got to say, there's no better week to have me on than after we just gave quite the walloping to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I got to say. So thank you so much for having me on.
Do you think Bengals fans feel the sense of relief, the sense of accomplishment, the sense of we are no longer the Cincinnati Bengals that we have known seemingly forever? This is not your 1991 Sam Weiss Bengals for a long time now. Is that the feeling in Cincinnati?
I got to tell you, the feeling of the changing of the guard that happened on Sunday, and it happened on probably the Pittsburgh's first drive with Ben Roethlisberger's second pass being picked off and taken back all the way down to the 5. I got to say, after that, even though we didn't score a touchdown, the whole stadium, it was almost like this is it. Like this team is real, and we know that Pittsburgh is not real. We can go out there and I don't know what we can say on here, but we can go out there and we can whoop some tail and we can whoop their tail. And now this is our AFC North. This is it.
Oh, so that's interesting. You think that this Cincinnati team, one game back of the Baltimore Ravens, who have looked great and have not looked great, you think that the North's going to go Cincinnati's way in the end?
Well, while the Ravens have obviously been getting wins, and in the NFL, getting wins is all that matters. But personally, in my head, it looks like the dam is about to break for the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson looked absolutely horrible against the Browns, who got beat by the Steelers at home 15-10, might I add. And I know the Bengals got whooped by them, but I digress. But that being said, we kind of have the blueprint on the Baltimore Ravens because in these past two drafts, the Bengals have done one thing on the defensive side of the ball. They drafted to stop Lamar. And it all came around when we played him on the first time in Baltimore. The Bengals stopped Lamar, held the Ravens to 17 points, and gave us a great chance to win the game. And we did, 45-17. So I think the dam is about to break for Baltimore.
And look, they've got to come to Cincinnati the day after Christmas. So
Right.
maybe that's the day that you take over first place in the AFC North. Are you? Let's talk rookie of the year. Mac Jones to me would, if I had a vote, I would put it on what's going on in New England because nobody saw that coming. But
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase was terrible in the preseason. You guys thought he was never going to be able to catch the football. And now all of a sudden he's right here, and some people think he should be the rookie of the year. Where are you at?
Well, let's talk about the preseason here. Number one, that was a lot of national media. A lot of the national media loves to
Oh,
go all over Cincinnati. Oh, he's going to drop balls. Everybody in Cincinnati knew Jamar Chase was going to be just fine, and obviously here he is. Um, I'm looking at it. Obviously, winning rookie of the week 4 times is no small feat for Jamar Chase, and he's been playing great. And now that Mac Jones has kind of researched, and again, him being a quarterback, he gets a lot more touches, obviously running the offense. And the New England Patriots are starting to win too. And now, I mean, obviously they're in front of the Bills, which honestly to me is kind of hilarious to see. Like the Bills fan, this is our year, this is our year. Then here comes Mac Jones for the Patriots. But the biggest telltale sign for if Mac Jones is going to be the rookie of the year over Jamar Chase is going to be Mac Jones's regression to the mean. Now, obviously, the Patriots are surging right now, and that's great. Honestly, I'm glad that Mac Jones is doing that. However, on top of that, when eventually the blueprint is out and it's like, okay, this is how you stop Mac Jones. This is how you kind of keep him in the box, contain him. Where does Mac Jones go from there? Then you can kind of figure out, okay, is he going to be the real deal rookie of the year? Now, talking about with Jamar Chase itself, he is getting a lot less touches. And I wrote a piece about this on a Stripe Hype shameless plug right there.
plug,
Yeah.
go.
And we talk about, and I write about what Jamar Chase does when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. And on Sunday, Joe Mixon ran for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, looked absolutely phenomenal, dominated. If you look at Jamar Chase in all 22 films, you see him just absolutely manhandle corners who have been in the league for a lot longer than he has, and he manhandles them and he blocks them so well. And he opened up a lot of lanes for Joe Mixon. And not only does he do well, does that impact the running game, it impacts the entire team's morale. They're seeing a rookie wide receiver, big shot, get his hands dirty,
Mm-hmm.
go all out when he doesn't have the ball. That does quite a bit for this Bengals team.
I love it, and specifically, thank you very much. His background, like, oh, did we draft Jamar Chase because of
Mhm.
Joe Burrow, and is he going to come in here and think he's all that? Versus, like, I'm going to show you that I'm here to win football games, do everything I can. That's a beautiful thing right there. I mean,
Mhm.
that speaks to a Cincinnati team coming together. The Joe Burrow part of this early in the year, he did not look good. He didn't look healthy. So are we past the ACL tear at this point? Is that fully in the rearview mirror?
I mean, did you see the move he put on Minka Fitzpatrick to dive into the end zone for the first touchdown? Yeah, but in all fairness, in all honesty, it looks like Joe has been able to basically not only overcome that physically but mentally. He did. When he made that move, he planted on that ACL leg and then made that move and kept going. His pocket awareness has gotten far better. His pocket mobility has gotten better. And I think Zach Taylor is continually making game plans to help set Joe up for success. So I do think we are past the point of ACL injury. I think it's all systems Joe here in Cincinnati.
So I was at the national championship game when they did it down to the Superdome, and then we were interviewing people on the street, and I'm asking them, will Burrow be better than Brady in the NFL? And LSU fans were like, I take Burrow over Brady all day long. Burrow's the man. Burrow. I'm curious, how high do you think is up for Joe Burrow from what you've seen so far? Add in the knee injury, coming back from it. I mean, where do you think he lands 3 years out as far as when we're doing our quarterback rankings?
3 years out, he can easily be in the top three in the NFL. I think it's just where he doesn't have, like, let's just say arm strength, where he doesn't have arm strength, he makes up for it in accuracy. Where he doesn't have, let's just say, speed, like he does with, like, Lamar Jackson has way more speed than Joe does. Joe makes up for that in being able to audible out, and he is so smart in between the ears. I think that is one thing that sets up Joe Burrow that not a whole lot of other quarterbacks have in this league. And then on top of that, this dude's got the heart of a lion, man. I mean, we all were very curious and wondering, will he even be back for week one? And he was back. And I know he may have struggled a little bit, maybe fairing that knee a little bit, but he didn't play bad. He still played winning football. And that's where the Bengals played their best ball, was around that first 7 weeks where we went 5-2. So I would say the ceiling is that there is no ceiling. The sky is the limit here. And I know I'm saying that a lot as a Bengals fan and as somebody that has had Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton and John Kitna through his entire life. But I got to say, if we keep developing around him, there is no reason why Joe can't be a top three quarterback in the league. Absolutely not.
So just for the record, I mean, I'm a Chicago guy here, Josh. So I
Right.
mean, I saw the Bears beat the Bengals. So
Yes, you did. Indeed.
and Burrow did not look good in that game at all. He did not
Terrible.
look. Yeah, it was bad. So for me to like elite level Cincinnati, it's tough. However, when I look at the AFC, I
Yeah.
outside of Kansas City, and even the Chiefs have had their issues this year. Like, who do you like to be in the AFC Championship game? We talked about this earlier in the week, and admittedly, it's a flyer. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ride the red hot Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Mixon running the ball like a complete monster. Like, let's go Jim Brown back in the day for an Ohio reference. And and Burrow's getting better seemingly by the week here. Chase is in
Mhm.
the conversation. How much do you think that this team is and you're Mr. Bangle here, and so I'm guessing yes, but do you see
Right.
a deep playoff run coming?
Well, and then that's a great point. You bring up the AFC. When you look around the AFC, you look around the leaders, the division leaders. Who do you look at in this AFC and say that team can go to the championship right there? That team can win a Super Bowl. I don't really see many teams where I can put a full faith into that. And I think that's why Cincinnati can make a deep run there, because they are going to play some teams with a lot of shaky performances. And I mean, you look down the road in their schedule here. You still got four more games at home. You got the Chargers coming in. You got the Chiefs coming in. Those are both two big AFC games that you can pick up. Then on top of that, you got Baltimore coming home, and then you have your revenge game against Cleveland at Cleveland. So if you can position yourself, I think if the Bengals can at least get one home playoff game, they can surprise some people in the playoffs. I think they'll win. They'll win at least the first game if they can make it. I'll tell you that.
If things go sideways and Cincinnati comes up woefully short this year, what will the reason have been?
That's a great point. I would say probably a lot of it's going to have to do with health. I think a lot of the Bengals' success this year has been because they have been really healthy, and especially on the offensive line and on the defense, and that's been a huge part to our success, and that's been a little bit of a downfall to Cleveland. And then let's just throw health out of the way here. I would say it would have to be probably the regression of the defense going into the year. We didn't think that this defense would be playing as good as they should be. We thought that it's like, okay, if the defense can play middle of the pack, if the defense can be middle of the pack, this Bengals team can be really good. But for the first 7 weeks, they played like a top 10 defense, and then they sputtered against Cleveland and against freaking Mike White and the Jets somehow. But it seems like that defense is back. But now, again, if we see a regression back to what we thought this defense could be, that would be a big reason, I would say, that the Bengals lose back down the way.
We'll shout out my guy Gonzo, who's joining us again today. A diehard stack in the boxer. Gonzo, seeing you, and yes, you and Verderam are betting the mortgage on the Chiefs. I know this, and hey, good luck to all my Kansas City Chiefs fans out there. If I had to, I wouldn't bet my mortgage, but if I had to bet, I would take Kansas City. Sean Daly, who's running the stream today, he's an honorary Bengals fan today too. He's a diehard Eagles guy, but
Really?
He doesn't buy your offensive line there, Josh Miller. He thinks that'll likely be a sticking point if things don't work out for Cincinnati. You're not in that camp, or are you?
Okay, so a lot of it's a big national media thing. Oh, by the way, one more thing. I love the Chiefs. Big Travis Kelce guy. A huge Travis Kelce guy. It's just except when they play the Bengals.
Fair
Okay, but yeah, offensive line. Obviously, there's a lot of questions there. But going into the year, huge question. But I've seen this offensive line get better and better. The Bengals acquired a new offensive line coach, Frank Pollock, and this is a guy that a lot of the players really love, especially Joe Mixon. And that being said, I mean, that's huge for our running back to show the love and affection for an offensive line coach. Now, that being said, I would say a lot of it has to do with the offensive line has actually stepped up this year. I mean, 29 carries, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns is no short feat against any defense. One thing that does kill the Bengals, though, is teams with really good defensive lines. You go to Cleveland and you go to the Jets. If they can find a way to tighten up there, because then you look back in the past 2 weeks, the Raiders have a pretty good defensive line, and so do the Steelers. The Steelers probably have one of the best defensive line playmakers in the entire league, probably the best. And the Bengals found a way to hold him down, except for that dirty ass block that he had on Joe Burrow. I'm still pissed about that. But that being said, I've seen this offensive line get better and better each week, so I wouldn't think that that's what's going to be their downfall, because I do believe in Zach Taylor's play calling and his play scheming, because it has been very good this year. Play calling has been a little here and there, but the scheme has been incredible. But I would say we could scheme around the offensive line going down. A lot of the offensive line would have to be health if we started going down in health wise. Trey Hopkins, who's had a ACL injury last year, he's coming back. He's a little bit slower than what he was last year and what we expect him to be. If he gets another injury there, that's going to be really tough to replace him. And then we also got Jackson Carman, who's a rookie. He's getting better, but he's not all the way there yet. And then you also have Akeem Adeniji, who didn't really play that much last year, and it's his second year this year. So I would say if the offensive line were to be the problem, it's going to be health. It's going to be health.
Josh Miller, Back Row Bengals. Good to see you, man. And listen, there's something about Cincinnati, that the helmet, yep, it's
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean,
Chef's kiss.
Where do you rank it in the NFL?
The helmet?
Yeah.
The helmet's number one. Oh my God, the stripes, they're insane. Are you kidding me? Like I say, the new uniforms. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Who's your number 2? Just to get some perspective of how you think.
We're going with helmets.
Well, overall best uniform.
Best uniform. That's a great question.
I mean, are you a traditionalist? Will you throw out a green and gold? Will you go with the star? Will you go off the board somewhere? Where are we going?
I would say last. I know my last place. I know last place is Seattle. I hate their uniforms. I
Really?
think Seattle's uniforms are disgusting. I think because they look like a college team. That's exactly my gripe with Seattle.
It's a
They look like a college.
shout out at the 12s coming right to
Yeah.
you, buddy.
Yeah. I would say, man, I got to think about it. I'll tweet that. How about this? I'll think about it. I'll tweet that back at you.
Okay, that works. That works. I listen. You don't want to when things are as important as this. You got to get your time in before. I appreciate your integrity and
Yes,
not
sir.
wanting to just say throw something out there. Hey man, the podcast is awesome. Back Row Bengals. You got your brother on there. We got you go multiple times a week, and
Sir.
this is the diehards that we're looking for in the FanSided network. So appreciate you making time for Stacking the Box. Let's do it again. And hey, let's see those Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs. Let's see them make a deep run.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Carm, for having me on. If you guys want to catch me again for more Bengals talk, 5:30 today. We'll be on live at the Back Row Bengals show, network, whatever.
5:30 today, baby.
5:30 today. All right, Carm. Thank you so much, boss.
Thanks, Josh, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Stacking the Box on a Thursday. We're back on Tuesday with yours truly and Matt Verderam for our regular weekly hit. Everybody have a great rest of your day.
Hooday.